Yeah. Woo. Phone ringing for the work. They waiting on me like the 15 the first. I'm killing competition, put them bitches in the hearse. Been diagnosed with a sick flow, with a nurse. Yeah, do it for the city, but the hood getting turned. With the money going around like an offering.
You asked for it. You asked for it. Looking for a good time? Oh, yeah. There it is, people. Look at me. You know. Fernie, that was for you. You know, nice little date. Get the candle, the vela on. Get all suited up. Look at me. Dude, this was from prom. Senior year. How about that? Look at how tight this thing is holding on like for dear life. All right. You know what? We're not doing this. We're not doing this at all. No, not today. Not today. That's a zip tie. Oh, God. Oh, no. All right, people. Welcome to another episode of the Bubble Let Sports Podcast, episode 108 for all you listeners on the podcast, for Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You've been right along with me. And this is the second episode of our YouTube channel. So, after that embarrassment of wearing my prom jacket, got the vela on, mad respect to Ezekiel Elliott. This is going to be a very positive episode on appreciating and dedicating this episode to the life of Kobe Bryant. Unfortunately, he passed away alongside other victims in the helicopter crash, and I'll name them off right now. I have them named. Right there with Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi Bryant, along with the Telebelli family, John, Carrie, Alyssa, Christina Mosser, Sarah Chester, Payne Chester, and Aras Sabayan, however you say it. I'm sorry if I mispronounced those names, but those are the victims of the helicopter crash on Sunday afternoon in California. Prayers to all their family, the families affected. My thoughts and condolences go to those families, including Vanessa, Kobe Bryant's wife, and their daughters. It's kind of tough to talk about the crash itself because the whole reason why they were in a helicopter in the first place was to go to a basketball game for Gigi and her team. That's why some of the other families were there as well. But they were just traveling to a basketball game, and that's Kobe Bryant talked about how he wanted his transportation to be easier, being in traffic, the LA traffic for hours upon hours. It was so much easier for him to just get a private helicopter to go from many different areas in LA, many different areas in California, be there in 15 minutes rather than 2 hours. He did it for his personal use of being with his family to get the family together faster. And then to do things like this, to take Gigi to her basketball games. And it's so hard to say that, like, fortunately, it wasn't the whole family for Kobe Bryant. It was just Gigi, but then again, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be to where, anyone should pass away in that manner. The videos of the actual crash itself are just brutal, They're heartbreaking. And, I just kind of looked away as soon as I saw the video. And like I said in the last podcast, like my manager telling me, he's like, you looked distraught. You looked out of place when you saw the video and you saw the news of Kobe Bryant dying. And just because it's just Kobe Bryant and he's the big name in this accident, that gives no reason to not look at the other families affected and to wish them nothing but the best as well, because they're just as important as Kobe Bryant, because a lot of people were impacted by them as well. We just don't know it. Kobe Bryant is a widespread worldwide name, and he have impacted millions of people. But that doesn't say that, like, those people, Telebellis, the Chester family, those people weren't important in someone else's life. Like, that could have been their role models that were, that passed away. So even more condolences to them. So as far as Kobe Bryant goes, this is just going to be me appreciating him in two different ways. And I'm going to end it with the best line that Kobe Bryant ever said, and I'll get to it. But there's two Kobes that I want to appreciate today. And that is the basketball player, Kobe Bryant, number 8, number 24. And there's the father. That's the husband, the father of 4 daughters, the dad, Kobe Bryant. And that's the man that I think I will remember more than I will the basketball player. So first off, talking about the Kobe Bryant basketball player, number 8, number 24. There are so many accolades that you can bring up for Kobe Bryant itself, and I actually pulled them up because it's just so many names. You know, we got 5-time NBA champion. We got 7 finals appearances, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, the MVP of the NBA in 2008, 2-time scoring champion in consecutive years, 06-07, 18-time NBA All-Star. Started from 1998, and then they didn't have an All-Star game in 1999, but from that point on, 2000 into 2016, he was an All-Star for 16 consecutive seasons. 4-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 15-time All-NBA team selection, 12-time All-Defensive Team, which is ridiculous. You don't think of Kobe being that defensive player, but he did his part on defense. NBA All-Rookie in 1997. You know, you look at all the records he holds in just the Lakers alone. This man just did everything. Most seasons played 20. Most playoff seasons played 15. The All-Star game selections 18. The All-NBA, the All-Defensive teams, he leads that in the Lakers. Most career regular season games, most career playoff games. The list goes on and on. He leads them in points. He leads them in games, in playoff games played. You know, he did everything possible to represent the LA Lakers like no one else did. You know, you remember the greats. You remember Magic Johnson. You remember Jerry West. You remember Kareem. But really, it was Kobe. You know, all these guys that are unfortunately older than him and are still alive. You know, it's weird to see them still alive and to look back at the career of Kobe Bryant and look at the passing and say that man represented the Lakers. But that's exactly what he did. He represented the Lakers like no one else could. The man was supposed to go to Charlotte. The man was supposed to be a Hornet. And then he got traded the day of the draft and got sent to LA. From that point on, 20 seasons of Kobe Bryant being an LA Laker. And he is probably the greatest Los Angeles athlete of all time. And one of the greatest NBA players of all time. You know, offensively, he was unbeatable. That candle is really, like, strong. Jesus, I'm so sorry. But, like, that man is, if he's not Jordan, he's not LeBron, but damn, you can't have a conversation of greatest of all time without thinking of Kobe Bryant. Just because of the fact that he didn't lead the league in scoring, he didn't lead the record in points or in games played. You know, Kareem, LeBron, Michael Jordan all lead those stats. But it's what Kobe Bryant not only did during the games on the court, but what he did off the court is to prepare his teams, is to get that mentality. We talk about the Mamba mentality. All these years, you know, kind of making it a meme, making it a joke, but it was real. It was real to him. You know, rewatching that, like, interview that Kobe and Shaq did after so many years of not being together, you know, them just sitting, you know, face to face and talking about, you know, what went wrong, how are they now, and just the moment of Shaq saying, like, you know, I don't need to prepare, you know, I don't need to prepare to dunk, I don't need to prepare to play the position, I just showed up, and when you need me to play, I'm going to play. And Kobe hated that because Kobe wanted you to prepare. Kobe wanted you to go as hard as possible and practice more than you do in the games. That was just Kobe Bryant. That's just what he did. And in 20 seasons, one of the most durable players in the NBA, this man shot 2 free throws and made them after tearing and rupturing his Achilles and still came back. And those were some rough years for the LA Lakers, but the man still stood tall. And the moment that for me, that really put me on Kobe, and I will always remember it, was in 2010 watching Game 7 of the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics, and I fell in love with Kobe. I fell in love with the NBA because watching Game 7 of the Celtics and Lakers is pretty much the best thing that you could do to resemble the history of what the NBA is like, and to do it with players like Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Metta World Peace. That man played 46 minutes in Game 7. Kobe played 44. And watching it, I remember the day. I remember being at a wedding, and I could care less whose wedding it was. I didn't want to be there. I was like, what? I was born in 97. It was 2010. I was probably like, what? 12 years old? That was some quick math, am I right, people? Yep. I was probably 12 years old, and up to that point, all I watched was soccer, all I watched was football, a good amount of baseball, but never really got into the NBA. I don't know why, but I just never got into it like I am now, relatively. I don't watch it every single day, but when it comes to the playoffs, it's just great. Just great to watch. March Madness, NBA Finals, NBA playoffs, and down the stretch, it's just fun to watch. But watching that at that wedding, and someone had their phone out and they were watching the game, and I was like, well, I'm a sports guy, I'm gonna watch. I'm here at a wedding. I'm here to eat. I'm here to watch basketball. That's all I'm here to do. I didn't want to be there. I want to be home watching sports or playing video games. Just you know me. You know me. I'm fucking Bubba Lutz. I don't take no shit. All right. Hope my mom didn't hear that. So watching that and falling in love with the game, and Kobe, all these people talking about how he was an artist. He had a blank canvas, and he did his work. He painted the canvas. That's exactly what I felt, and I didn't know it at that time in 2010. But as I went on and seen him just be the most attention-grabbing player in the NBA, and being the best player on the court, but never wanting the spotlight. He never wanted to be the guy who gets all the attention. And even through all that, all the players around him, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, Pau Gasol, Metta World Peace, all these guys, Derek Fisher, he always felt that it was Kobe's team. But it always went back to Phil Jackson. It always went back to the full team itself that did the job right. And Kobe was never selfish in that aspect. Now, he would just take over and never pass it. And that was a joke that he made in his retirement speech after the Utah Jazz game. But, man, why would you pass the ball? Why would you want to take the ball away from Kobe when Kobe's, spitting out 81 points and he looks like he's going to murder someone? That's just how the Mamba mentality was. So falling in love with him after that and watching basketball from that point on, getting into LeBron James, going back to those early Kobe years with Shaq, and learning that history of bad blood between them and what could have been the dynasty of the Lakers. And then seeing the number 8 Kobe, seeing the number 24 Kobe, all those championships. I watched the last championship that Kobe ever won. But I think that's all I needed to watch. Why did I have to go back and look back at those early 2000 years when the story wrote itself in 2010, beating a super team in a sense. I didn't think the Celtics were a super team at that point, but a lot of people consider them that. I don't, but let's just say, lack of argument, they were. Beating the super team, basically solidifying himself as one of the best players of all time, and rightfully so. So from that point on, Kobe is just Kobe. He's got the shoes, he's got the popularity, and he will go down as one of the greatest players of all time. And up to that point where he ruptured his Achilles, came back in those tough years with the Buss family in LA, and having to play with such young guys, Nick Young, D'Angelo Russell, and never winning anything. But he still gave his heart out to the court. He still gave his heart to the organization. And finally, when he, threw the towel in, not even throw the towel in, that's a terrible way of putting it. When, putting the putting the ball away and playing that last game against the Utah Jazz at home with celebrities all over the Staples Center, the house that Kobe Bryant built, and to score 60, to do it in such a manner where, I mean, he took a lot of shots, but there was no way that those guys were not going to allow him to make a name for himself in his last night as an NBA player and not to put up a performance like that. And the one video I found on Twitter where it was Gordon Hayward basically taking the lane violation or a free throw violation to where if he stepped forward before the shot, then Kobe, who was at 59 points at that point in the game, giving the Lakers the lead, would make it 60, and he just wanted to make sure that he did get to that 60. A very unselfish play for a Utah Jazz team that, it was toward the end of the season, but it's not important. A regular season game shouldn't define like how you play, especially in that moment when you know that it's Kobe's show. Like, you got to give it up to the man who basically all those guys that were on the court, they grew up watching Kobe and they grew up wanting to be Kobe. They wanted to be that type of player in the NBA, especially those young guys in the Lakers. But look at more than half of the league right now. I guarantee you that their influence is done by LeBron James, by Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant is a huge part of that as well. So getting to play with that guy and seeing him in his later years, that's incredible to think that a guy like that keeps going and he plays at such a high level that now you're going against him and you're trying to defend him and there's no way you can block him. There's no way you can defend him. And Kobe Bryant just was that dude. He was that dude. There's no way to really explain like how his game like really came together. Like, he was just all over the place. He in such a good way. This man was everywhere. And he led teams. He took over teams. He took over moments that not a lot of players in the NBA can do now. You have your obvious LeBron James. You have your obvious Kawhi Leonard. But Kobe was just on another level. Like 81 points, dude. That's ridiculous. I don't know if anyone could ever beat that. But do it in such a way that's so unselfish, but also like so ordinary for a type of guy like that. Like, when he's on, he's on. There's no way about it. Like, there's no stopping him. So with that said, like, there's not much I can really say about Kobe Bryant because I'm not the type of guy to say, like, he influenced me, he inspired me, he was my favorite player. I'm not going to be like that. I hate people on social media that go on there and in a tough time with his family and going on Twitter and trying to make like a popular tweet about it or to post about like rest in peace Kobe, rest easy Kobe. It's one thing to be like, prayers to him and his family, but it's another thing to try to get attention on social media by saying his name, by mentioning him and mentioning the death. That truly makes me sad that people would go to those lengths. Like, I was on TikTok, I was on Twitter today, and people are already making jokes about it. Not like jokes to where it's hurtful to the family, but it's also like trying to be very humorous about the death already. And I find that so horrid and disrespectful. I love those moments where like people are posting about like moments throughout Kobe's career where he made someone laugh or it was funny in the moment. Like Kobe Bryant had a humorous moment, and like the commercial with Kanye West, the jokes that he had with his teammates, or just special moments. Those are phenomenal. I love watching those because they're unlike any other. It's another thing to joke or try to get attention just because of someone's passing. And I hate that. So I'm not going to be the guy that's going to try to get attention from this. I want this to be a podcast mesmerizing, I should say, Kobe Bryant's career and his life. I wish nothing but the best for his family. I wish nothing but the best for his daughters and his wife, and to the rest of the families affected. I wish him nothing but the best from this point on. And I hope that with these days that come and go, all these tributes that are being done to the NBA, like NBA players, and I will talk about them too, I hope that they can find comfort in knowing that they're not alone in this. They're not alone in the process of, you know, life happens. Heaven got a tremendous person in Kobe Bryant. They got a tremendous person in Gigi Bryant, who was going to be the Kobe Bryant of the WNBA without a doubt. She was a beast. She was already getting probably offers from everywhere. And then also the families as well, Audebelly and all of those affected. They gained great people up there. So I hope that they're never alone in this, the people that they're still going by their name, that still represent their name well. But I think that over the last couple of days with these tributes to Kobe Bryant and those affected in the NBA, the 24-second shot clock violation, the 8-second violation, and you're seeing it everywhere. You're not only seeing this in the NBA with those tributes where you're seeing Devin Booker, you're seeing Tyson Chandler crying on the bench because of the death, but it's also like, it's so stupid. But on 2K, you see it on the video game where people around the world who are so competitive to be like atop the rankings in the world, and yet at the beginning of games, they just inbound the ball and then they take the violation just to recognize Kobe and to respect Kobe in such a great manner. And then today, all these soccer games, AC Milan, who Kobe loved as a kid growing up in Italy, they had a huge poster of Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant, rest in peace. Like, that is so beautiful, man. And that's to me, and I didn't really mention this in yesterday's podcast, but sports just goes far beyond what happens on the court, what happens on the field. Kobe Bryant was not only an impactful man for athletes, but also an impactful person off the court in the community. And that man inspired so many people. And you're seeing random celebrities that have nothing to do with sports come out and say that they are honored to have met Kobe Bryant. And that is a beautiful thing to see. That everyone is coming together in such a crisis time to represent and respect a man and his family and those other families. To come together and say, we are here for them. That we are here to appreciate the life of Kobe. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. No matter how I do it with a podcast, no matter how many tweets I retweet or like of old moments with Kobe, no matter what happens, like I truly, truly think that Kobe Bryant was a once in a lifetime person. And this is where I transition really into the part that I will remember Kobe for the most, is the dad, the husband, and the father. That man was an incredible father. Just talking about how he wanted to spend more time with his family, even in his later part of his career. Like, he never wanted to stop working, getting better with his body, still having that mentality of working every single day to earn it. That's exactly what he did. He was given a God-given talent. Not many people are given that on a regular basis. But not only did he take advantage of that, he never took it for granted. He knew he had to work for everything. And that's exactly what he taught to his daughters and to his family and to everyone that knew Kobe Bryant or was impacted by Kobe Bryant, is that the Mamba mentality went far beyond the basketball court. And that's exactly what he did with his daughters. Now with me, the one thing that really sticks out is that I remember hearing and reading that Vanessa, his wife, really wanted him to have a son. She wanted to continue to try and try and try. After 3 daughters, he was like, I love my daughters. I couldn't ask for anything more. In the interviews, in the Jimmy Kimmel one really stands out where he's saying like, oh man, one fan came up to him and saying like, oh, imagine if you had a son. And then Gigi like steps up like, no, that's going to be me. And Kobe just having a smile on his face. Vanessa was beautiful to think of that, to say like, I want to give him a son to really carry on the name. But for Kobe to be like, I'm chilling, I'm good. I have 4 beautiful daughters. And to not only be okay with the fact that he's not going to have a son or that he hasn't had a son, but embracing the fact that he has 4 daughters and that, that's the best thing that could happen to him. Like, I forget the name of the announcer from Sports Center, but she was talking about how she was pregnant at the time and Kobe went up to her. It was super nice about, how far are you, or is it a girl, is it a boy? And her being very scared about parenthood and being scared about raising a girl, and him just big smile on his face and saying that having daughters are the best thing that ever happened to him. And that's a beautiful thing, man. And never did you think that Kobe Bryant was not a good father to his children. Even in those later years, in his last game, they were all there, and the smiles that they had, being so happy for him, that not only he gets to go home to spend time with them, but to finally live out his dream one more time, to live out his dream, his purpose on this earth, to live it out and do it at such a high level. And that was a great father. He did everything he could to be a great father. And death is such a horrible thing. However, the fact that he passed away in the helicopter that he used to take his daughter, to take other people's daughters to basketball games, to get them there faster, to live out their dreams, to do what they love, and to pass away in the arms of his daughter, and to pass away with close people around him. It's sad to say, but that may have been the best way to go out, to be in the arms of his 13-year-old daughter who was going to be the next Kobe Bryant. You hope that in those moments they were all together and they said they loved each other before they passed away. But, he was born to do basketball. He was born to be a part of basketball. And unfortunately, he passed, but it was a part of basketball. It was on his way to a basketball game. Kobe was meant to be on this earth for not only to play at a high level and to be one of the greats to ever do it, but to pass it on to future generations in such a positive way, and never force basketball on his daughters, never force basketball on anyone. After he retired, did you really hear anything from Kobe Bryant, like partying or getting in trouble, even throughout his career, like getting in trouble? There are speculations, there are like trials, there's so many negative things, but that's in everyone's career. All people make mistakes. And we don't know the full story about Kobe Bryant, so I won't get into that because this is not the time or place. I see it on Twitter. This is not the time or place, no matter who you are and what you think. People died. People passed away. And we should mourn those losses because of what incredible impact all those people affected had in this. So through the ups and downs of Kobe Bryant's career, it never felt like he was at rock bottom. He never felt like he was, God himself, and he was super selfish and never really appreciated everything around him. He did. Without a doubt, he did. And in the retirement years, he'd go to an occasional Laker game. But I hear stories of him not watching basketball for a long time. And the only reason he'd watch is because his daughters would watch it. Because they wanted to learn from him. They wanted to play basketball. It was never him pushing. It was never him, putting basketball on their shoulders and saying, you have to do this because it's me. Because I'm Kobe. That was never the case. And I can't tell you enough how happy I feel when I see so many great things about him, hyping up his daughters, hyping up his wife, his high school sweetheart, and to give him such miracles in 4 daughters, all healthy, all beautiful. They are such a great family, such a beautiful family that we've grown up with. And for a man like that to be taken away, a great father, not just a great player, but a great father, to be taken away, a great person too, to be taken away like that, it's heartbreaking. It really is. So let's not just think of all the accolades. Let's not think about the 5 rings that he has on his hand. Let's not think about all those NBA All-Star games that he played in, or the generational players that came after Kobe and will take over in the next 20 years since Kobe's passing. Let's think about the man. Let's think about the person. And let's appreciate the fact that that man is not only a role model to players, but to fatherhood, to men all across the world. And I am so inspired by him now. It's hard to really say that a man's death and people's deaths are impactful to really appreciate them. I kind of did the same thing with Mac Miller. I've met the man. I told him how much I appreciate his music and I love what he's doing. And it was just a casual conversation, just a meetup. And it was great music. I loved listening to him. Until he passed away, and listening to his music now, I appreciate him even more. And it's tough to say that because he's now gone. And a lot of people don't appreciate people till they're gone. Till you realize that they're not coming back. And for all these tributes that, Tracy McGrady, Jay Billis, Shaq earlier today, all these people crying on live TV because of the impact that Kobe Bryant had on them, not just as a player, but as a person. Man, it's heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. It's bittersweet. So as we go along, as we move on from this, and we should never really truly move on, we should look back at these moments and say, we still got to appreciate someone who has given us their lives. This man never went to college. He came straight out of high school and played in the NBA at such a young age and immediately took over the sport, took over the world because he was so internationally recognized in not just the United States, but in China, doing exhibitions, doing Olympic team games for the Olympic team, being the most recognized player in the entire world, not just in basketball, but in soccer, but in football. This man was everywhere. Like, Kobe is a universal name, no matter what happens. So I really think from this point on, the things that we can do to really say that Kobe will never leave our minds, and seeing this on talk shows and speculation, just kind of throwing out ideas. How about the fact that, I love the idea of retiring his number everywhere. No one should be able to use the number 8, use the number 24 ever again. Kind of, I feel the same way with, Jordan and James. No one should ever use those numbers ever again. And everyone should do that. The Mavs just did it yesterday. And for Mark Cuban to do that, that's incredible. It's a small little gesture, but it goes a long way to 20 years from now. 20 years from now, let's say a kid's going to his first Mavericks game and, barely get into basketball. He goes out there, American Airlines Center, and he looks up to the rafters and sees Bryant 8, Bryant 24, and he asks his dad, when did he play for the Mavs? When was that during your time? And that's when his dad will tell him about the amazing story that is Kobe Bryant. Same way, whether you're in Atlanta, whether you're in New York, LA, Cleveland, it doesn't matter. It should be a universal thing to where everyone looks up to the rafters, 20 years from now and says, that man is still a part of this game. This man is still with us on this court. And whether his daughters, his oldest daughter, who I believe is 18, plays volleyball at such a high level. His youngest, Bianca and Natalia, who can grow up to be WNBA stars. And they have to learn from the highlights of their dad, or they got to learn from other people that knew their dad. They got to learn from Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and that's great company to learn from. But imagine learning from them and then playing at such a high level and becoming the next Kobe in their sport. That's phenomenal. But that's how we should look at Kobe Bryant, is that many years from now, we shouldn't forget and just say, oh, that's right, he passed away. It's no, that person, that MVP in 20 years in the NBA is inspired by Kobe. And I think I'm gonna really believe in this more than anything, but I really believe that they should change the logo of the NBA to Kobe Bryant's jumper. I've seen many different shadows or silhouettes of it, but the one that really stands out to me and I feel defines Kobe Bryant is that jumper. It's so unique to him. It looks so beautiful every time you watch it. And for that to be the logo, no disrespect to Jerry West whatsoever. Former Laker, one of the best Lakers of all time. The logo is, without a doubt, embodiment of the NBA. But if there's ever someone to change it, it's got to be either LeBron, it's got to be either Jordan, or it's got to be Kobe. It has to be. There's no other way you can do it. And a man like this who left a legacy too soon, this man, he could have played in the NBA still. Hands down. If Dirk Nowitzki could still play in the NBA, damn right, you know that Kobe could have played. So the fact that he was taken so soon, and, you know, his legacy still stands today, and it is, to this day, apparent on the court. For that to be the logo, I guarantee you ask any one of those legends, you ask any one of those Hall of Famers, you ask Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, you ask, Dr. J, you ask LeBron, you ask Michael, you ask them, guarantee you they are all for switching that logo to Kobe Bryant. And nothing would put a smile on the Bryant's faces of that family, and to put everyone at such a peace, such a happy moment when they can unveil that logo. Let's say a few years down the road, or even next year at the Staples Center, when they put up another statue of Kobe, like another one, they put his numbers up on the rafters again, but they also put the new logo that should be on center court for every arena, for every court around the NBA for the full season. That new logo will be there from the first tip-off in the regular season to the NBA Finals, Game 7. That logo of Kobe Bryant will be there to commemorate a season of Kobe Bryant. And that for me would be a great little small thing the NBA could do. And it would put nothing but smiles on everyone's faces. No matter if you hated Kobe, if you loved Kobe, if you were just whatever about Kobe, a moment like that will be remembered forever, no matter who you are. Because that is a great way to commemorate a life of Kobe Bryant. I guarantee you, if I got someone else on this podcast to talk about many different moments of Kobe Bryant's life, in his playing career, that would have been great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I got the tail end of Kobe's career. I got the small little parts. I never got the 81-point game. I never got the Matt Barnes, show off. And I never got the early 2000s Afro Kobe with Shaq. But that's why for me, it's more of the man himself than it is the player. And that I can say nothing but good things about the man himself. And to go like that, it's never happy. It's never nice to say. But he was in the arms of his daughter. And he probably protected her with his entire life and gave her the best life possible. And that is more than enough for me that any championship could do for Kobe Bryant. So, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Bubba Lutz Sports Podcast. Whether you're doing this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or you're on YouTube, one of the many subscribers that did today. I mean, crazy. Like, I haven't checked, but I think we're on like 50 views for the first episode. And then like right around 30 subscribers in total, which is ridiculous. Like, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support over the last couple days and over these last few months. Let's keep it going. I want to continue this. Remember that we're doing a live stream for the Super Bowl on Sunday. Eddie and I will come together. We'll do the same setup. We're going to be in our living room. We're going to, open some beers. We're going to eat some food. We're going to enjoy a nice game. If you can be there along the way, that'd be great. I hope you can join us. But thank you again for watching and listening to the Bubba Lutz Sports Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and put on the bell to get alerts. Your boy likes to ring the bell. And then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go on anchor.fm/BubbaLutz to support the podcast by donating $1, $5, or $10 a month. That way we can keep improving the podcast and keep going with improvements like this. And we can just keep going from there and there. So thank you again for listening and watching. We'll see you next time on the Bubba Lutz Sports Podcast.